Recently I've been getting loads of questions about my new Mitre saw and also my old Mitre saw. People want to know why I recently stopped using it. So in this video I'm going to answer those questions and talk about the reasons for the change. I've had the HiKOKI Mitre saw now for about 3 months. It was sent to me by HiKOKI. I didn't pay for it with my own money, just so you're aware, but no one is paying me to make this video or anything like that. Before getting the HiKOKI, I used the Axminster white Mitre saw. I've had this for about 4 years now. I bought it just after I started my YouTube channel. I've never been able to find out much information about it, to be honest. It doesn't even have a model number written on it, and I've never seen another one out there available to buy. I bought it second hand from someone locally to me, and I paid about £200, which seems like a real bargain, and I don't have many bad things to say about it. I really like it. So I'll talk you through my thought process, the things I like and dislike about each of these saws, and why I made the decision to use the HiKOKI in my workshop going forward. I'll start with the HiKOKI and the things I like about it. The biggest difference between this and the Axminster is the way it feels to use. It's smooth, it glides pretty effortlessly, it just feels nice. In comparison, the Axminster feels heavy and pretty clunky, to be honest. The head of the saw is on springs, so it takes a bit of effort to bring it down. If anyone watching saw the video I put out a while back where my girlfriend made a box, you'll see that she struggled to use it, which emphasizes the point perfectly.
Oh my god, how do you pull it out? How are you doing that so easily? Let me practice that first.
Okay.
It's just there's resistance because it feels like this wants to pop up because of the power in it.
So I brought Ria into the workshop. She doesn't know what I'm going to ask her to do yet. Can you have a go at making a cut on the Mitre saw? You don't actually have to cut anything, but just pull her head down and drag it towards you.
Like that?
Yeah. So the point I was trying to make in the video is that that slides really easily, whereas the other one, have a go on the other one.
Yeah, no,
it's heavy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's heavy.
For me though, the heaviness and clunkiness was never really an issue, mainly because it was my first and the only Mitre saw I'd ever used, so I didn't really know any different, but also because I've got these big guns. Another big difference is that the HiKOKI is a cordless saw, which is great if you need it and ideal if you do a lot of site work, but if you're going to have it set up in a workshop permanently like me, it's not a feature that I need, and to be honest, initially it put me off. I'd rather not have to replace batteries when they run out on a machine that's permanently set up in the same place. Having said that, it's far less of an issue than I thought it would be. I've been using it pretty frequently now for 3 months, and guess how many times I've had to change the battery? Once, seriously, and the battery that's in it now still has 2 bars on it, so that won't be running out anytime soon. So battery life from these 36 volt 4 amp hour batteries is really impressive. Changing the batteries isn't really a concern for me anymore. HiKOKI have also recently released a power adapter for the saw which slots into the battery slot so you can plug it into a wall socket, which is great if, like me, you want it permanently set up. I haven't got my hands on one of those yet, but I'll probably get one at some point in future. The HiKOKI doesn't lack power at all. I'm confident that it could cut through anything that the Axminster saw could cut through just as quickly. In fact, let's try that out. So here I have a thick piece of oak. Really nice cut quality, that's nice and smooth. So that's quite surprising. This was actually a lot slower. Cut quality again is excellent, really smooth. I'm wondering if that difference in speed could be due to the fine kerf of this blade. So let's just measure the teeth. The kerf of the stock blade is 2.35 millimeters. And on the Axminster I have a Freud blade fitted. Let's measure this one. The kerf of that blade is 2.76 millimeters. So there's actually not that much of a difference in blade kerf, but the Axminster is removing more material, so I would expect it to be a little bit slower. In terms of build quality, both saws seem really well made. Both saws have no discernible play or movement at full extension on their slides. Both saws cut nice and accurately, although I have noticed that it's slightly easier to get an accurate cut with the HiKOKI just because it glides so effortlessly. When I used the Axminster saw, I was always a little bit more conscious of pulling the saw out as straight on the rails as possible. While I'm talking about accuracy, the HiKOKI was pretty accurate right out of the box. The head was at a perfect 90 degrees to the base. The fence was a little bit off, so I did need to adjust that, but that's something that I expect to have to do with all new tools, so that's not a problem. It's just a case of loosening the bolts on the back, squaring the fence up to the blade, using a reliable square, and then locking the fence down again. The best way to check that it's then perfectly square is to use a piece of wood with a perfectly straight edge on it, offer that up to the fence, make a cut, flip one of the pieces and hold it against the fence, and if the two pieces meet together perfectly with no gaps, then you know it's spot on. On the Axminster, the head again is spot on, perfect 90 degrees, but it does have a major problem with the fence in that it doesn't have enough movement to be able to square it up properly to the blade. It just won't go over far enough to be at a perfect 90 degrees. I did try modifying the fence by drilling out the bolt holes to get a bit more movement, but I still can't quite dial it in, and that's why I ended up making my own fence for it when I built my old Mitre station a few years back. I just used a piece of aluminium angle for that and managed to get that aligned perfectly. I suspect that when the Axminster was new, fresh from the factory, the fence definitely would have adjusted to cut at a perfect 90-degree angle. Maybe it just got a knock at some point in its life that caused the issue. Who knows? Okay, so I've just had another go at squaring up the blade because it's been a couple of years since I last tried it, and actually it's not that bad now. It is still off, and it's as far back as I can get it that way and as far forward as I can get it that way, so I can't make it any better than this, but it's not as bad as I remember. The HiKOKI has its sliding bars at the front rather than at the back, which means you can position it a little bit closer to the wall. That's a really useful feature, particularly if you're in a small workshop. The distance from the back of the saw to the fence on the HiKOKI is 34 centimeters, whereas the Axminster measures 39 centimeters, so there's about 2 inches in it. In terms of cutting capacity, both of these saws are the same really. They both have 254mm or 10-inch blades, so they both have the same depth of cut and length of cut. The HiKOKI bevels in both directions up to 48 degrees, whereas the Axminster only bevels one way up to 45 degrees. The HiKOKI also has more mitre capacity, pivoting to 60 degrees in one direction and 55 in the other, in comparison with the Axminster's 46 degrees in both directions. It's really nice to have that extra capacity on those rare occasions when you need it. The only downside is that if you plan on having it set up in a mitre station situation like me, you do need to allow quite a lot of space from left to right in order to utilize its full range of motion so that you can make compound angle cuts and that kind of stuff. So if you have a small workshop, that might be worthy of consideration. On my new Mitre station, the hood measures 95 centimeters from left to right, which is a pretty big footprint, and I made it as small as I could get away with making it. One thing that really took some getting used to for me with the HiKOKI was the controls to use the mitre and bevel settings. Initially they were pretty confusing to me, although it's obviously something you will get used to pretty quickly after using it for a while. Having said that, it is pretty useful to have those controls at the front of the saw rather than having to reach around the back. The HiKOKI enables you to make trench cuts using the built-in depth stop, which quickly flips up out of the way when you don't need it. That is a great feature if you want to use it to cut housing grooves or rebates, for example. Personally, I tend to make a lot of those sort of cuts at the table saw, but it's nice to have the option. The Axminster does not have that function, unfortunately. The HiKOKI also has a laser guide and an LED light. The Axminster doesn't have either. To be honest, I'm not sure I'll use the laser anyway, but the LED light is a really useful addition because in those situations where you want to line up the blade to a cut line or a pencil line, it illuminates the area, which is really useful. There's one thing that I prefer about the Axminster in comparison with the HiKOKI, and that's how quiet it is with its induction motor. I really don't know why more tool manufacturers don't use induction motors in their tools. Having said that, the HiKOKI has a brushless motor and it's not particularly loud in comparison, but it does seem a bit louder to my ears. But let's test that out. So this won't be particularly scientific, but I've got my sound meter app on my phone and that's spaced evenly between the two machines at the same distance. So that was averaging at about 32 or 33 decibels. And now for the HiKOKI. So that was about 44 decibels. And just for information, the phone is positioned about 1.3 meters away from each of the saws. In terms of dust extraction, the Axminster isn't particularly good, as with most mitre saws. I haven't yet hooked the HiKOKI up to an extraction system, I've just been using the dust bag. The HiKOKI does have a rubber dust shroud around the port, so I guess that might make it slightly more efficient, but time will tell. If you're interested in checking out the HiKOKI saw online, you can find a link to it in the My Tools link in the description box below. The Axminster white saw is no longer available to buy, so obviously that won't be in there. And if you're interested in finding more about the HiKOKI saw, I'd also suggest checking out a video by Robin Clevitt over on the Skill Builder channel, which I'll link to in the description box. So yeah, originally I wasn't convinced that I'd prefer the HiKOKI over my beloved old friend, the Axminster White, and that's why I've held on to both saws while I mulled over the decision. But having used the HiKOKI over the past few months, it's definitely the better tool. I much prefer it, so now it's time to say goodbye to the Axminster because I don't really have space to keep both. I'll probably pop it on eBay and obviously make it clear that it has that issue with the fence being out of square. I'm also going to be selling my old benchtop sander too, and I'll be using any money from selling those machines to put towards a few new things that I need to buy for the new workshop. Top of the priority list is a new air filtration unit because the one I used in the old workshop is too small for this one. And I could also do with a chip collector for my planer thicknesser. I'm thinking it will probably be best to have one that's separate to the rest of my new dust extraction system that I'm yet to set up. But there'll be a video about all of that stuff coming soon. If anyone has any recommendations for chip collectors, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. Also coming soon is a couple of videos about the new Mitre station, which is a project that's been dragging on for a while now, so I look forward to getting that one finished and put out very soon. That's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe for more weekly woodworking videos. You can also support the channel on Patreon, where you can get early access to my videos, free plans and cut lists, exclusive content, and a name credit at the end of my videos. You'll find a link to that below. Thank you for watching.